We're going to hear from three speakers today. I have Shane Simon with me, who is the web developer of DigiFindIt for innovative document imaging. He's going to talk about the DigiFindIt platform, which is a records management system, text searchable, global searching, all that. I'll jump into that a little bit later today. I have Alec Carroll, who is in business development, sales and marketing. Specializes in digitization and records management systems. So he's going to talk to you about digitization and how to go about our main topic agenda. I am Jordan Barron. I'm the head of sales, director of sales for innovative document imaging. I've been in the world of digitization for nearly 10 years now. And we'll talk a lot about how we could help and all those different types of experiences and all that, kicking off digitization during the pandemic and all different types of topics along those lines. So again, IDI. Who we are, about IDI, our topic today, getting started with library digitization. Again, thank you so much for being here. As Alex stated, feel free to drop in a question in the, Alec and Shane will be monitoring the chat box for questions, so feel free to drop that in at any time. Our topic today is transforming your library's physical archive into a digital space. We've been in this area for over 20 years now. We started in the year 2000. So we have tons of experience working with libraries, big and small, all over the world. So this is the topics we'll be jumping into today. Who we are, scanning services, technology services, some case studies. We actually have an interview that's been pre-recorded with Sarah Hull from the Plainfield Public Library in New Jersey. Very exciting, about 10-minute interview that we scheduled with Sarah. Digitization and the pandemic, navigating all that, getting started with digitization, transporting and caring for your materials. Can't take that for granted, the importance of that, as well as project management and tracking systems to make sure all projects go off without a glitch. And last but not least, we'll have Shane talking to you about DigiFindIt Record Management Cloud Portal, the ability to cloud search through your records over the web. So before we jump into that, so let's talk a little bit about who we are. So you see some logos here, Innovative Document Imaging front and center. That's the main company that we go under. We also have some subsidiaries, you could call them. eBeam Imaging, is a specialization for microfilm services. So IDI still produces microfilm for government, for pharmaceutical companies, especially for libraries. We're still doing microfilm backups for newspapers, city directories, all those different types of things. Digital memory media, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but digital memory media is focused on the audio video side of digitization. We do things like final records, videotapes, you name it. Anything in that audio video, even photos, slides, we put it under our DMM umbrella. DigiFindIt talked about for a second. Shane's going to dig much deeper into that here a little bit later about searching your files. Of course, the question is, after digitization, what's next? So Shane's going to talk to you a little bit more about how that works. So we are document imaging specialists. We're headquartered here in the Northeast in East Brunswick, New Jersey, and Shelton, Connecticut, but we do actually travel all over the country and even all over the world. We do have a satellite office, a partner office, you could call it, over in the UK, near Manchester, England. We are document and media conversion experts for publishing companies, private schools, universities, libraries, historical societies, pharmaceutical companies, and much, much more. A very important piece of the business is network and web services. DigiFindIt, Shane's going to get into that, as I mentioned. You got to have state-of-the-art equipment for digitization. We've acquired a plethora of scanners. We're probably nearly up to about 100 different actual machines, hardware machines that we're working on every day to digitize these rare, fragile, one-of-a-type of collections. Of course, we're experienced in handling rare and fragile documents. We have conservation members on staff, as well as people with many, many industry years of experience. Quick introduction about who we are. Martin Tannenbaum, who isn't with us today, is the IDI founder and president. I'm sure a few of you probably know Marty over the years. Marty's been a former president of AIM and ARMA, Records Management Societies here in New Jersey. I'm your speaker right now. I'm Jordan, the head of sales for IDI. Been with the company for almost 10 years. We got Shane Simon, who's going to be speaking with you later today. He's our director of web services and one of the founders of the Did You Find It product. We'll be talking to you later on today, as well as Alec Carroll, who's going to be co-hosting this session with me, who's in charge of sales and marketing and business development for IDI. So with that, we're going to play a little introduction video. I saw a few of you joined in here in the last couple of minutes. Feel free to drop in anything in the chat box, any Q&A. Alec will be following up with any questions towards the end. Thank you so much for joining us. And with that, we're going to play a little 3-minute video that tells a pretty cool story about who we are and getting started with digitization projects before we dive into the meat of our agenda here. Anybody has any issues with sound or video quality, just send a note in the chat box, please. Thank you.
Innovative document imaging, solutions for the 21st century. IDI maintains an 8,500 square foot state-of-the-art document conversion facility in East Brunswick, New Jersey, close to the New Jersey Turnpike and easily accessible to New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, and Washington, D.C. Our company mission is to supply the best service possible at a reasonable cost for the digital conversion of paper documents, newspapers, maps, books, bound materials, microfilm, and microfiche. IDI has its own vehicles for content pickup and deliveries, and a warehouse that can safely store thousands of boxes. 22 of IDI's scanners are high-volume production scanners that accurately and effectively complete any size paper scanning project in color, black and white, or grayscale, utilizing HIPAA-certified scan operators and project managers. 8 robotic Kurtas scanners gently turn and digitize book pages at the rate of 2,400 pages per hour. 14 overhead publication scanners capture books, maps, newspapers, and oversized documents. Large format scanners can capture up to E-size drawings, plans, and maps. IDI utilizes 25 fireproof, crush-proof, and waterproof Pelican cases to transport valuable content. Internal to the IDI facility is a secure library custom designed to house rare or fragile content. Microfilm and microfiche projects are quickly completed using NextScan hardware and ribbon technology, eliminating missing frames while outputting the best image quality possible. IDI has successfully, simultaneously managed a multitude of on-site and off-site imaging projects with the world's leading pharmaceutical companies and museums, such as the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., the New York Historical Society, the Huntington Museum in California, the Newberry Library in Chicago, and the American Antiquarian Society in Worcester, Massachusetts. DigiFindIt is IDI's popular web cloud portal for attractively displaying and keyword searching digital content. IDI's Digital Memory Media Division converts slides, photos, all cassette format videos, 8mm and 16mm film, audio tapes, and cassettes. We offer memory preservation consulting, and we even schedule pickup and drop-offs at your home or office. Innovative document imaging, solutions for the 21st century.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that video. I know it's a lot of information to digest, so we're going to dig a little deeper now and get into exactly how we're going to serve you in your town. That all starts with our scanning services and our capture devices. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, we've been able to amass, as Jordan said, an enormous arsenal of top-of-the-line scanners and capture devices. In more recent years, we've even been able to build a few of our own machines that can really hone in on our needs and our clients' needs. Well beyond your standard white paper scanning, IDI has the ability and extensive experience in scanning all forms of documents that's fragile, non-fragile financial records, HR files, student records, and so on. A big one for libraries, we scan microfilm and microfiche. In our Connecticut office, we handle all our microfilm creation, duplication at a capacity that is really unmatched in the industry. As you all know, microfilm is still the archival standard. It lasts 500 years on the shelf life if stored correctly. So it's still a very important part of the archival industry, and we don't take that for granted. As you saw in the video, with the help of our 8 robotic Kurtas scanners, we're able to scan all types of books, ledgers, journals, and city directories. We also handle photos, slides, and negatives, some large format drawings, and maps. With the help of our subsidiary Digital Memory Media, or DMM, we're able to digitize all forms of audio and videotapes, 8mm, Super 8mm, 16mm film reels, which is a lot of cool stuff on those because those can date back almost 100 years now. Of course, as you all know, newspapers and news clippings are a great archival research tool. And coupled with our OCR layering, which I'll get to in a minute, it makes researching incredible when you have that digitized. We are experienced in handling rare and fragile documents, even trusted with an original copy of the Constitution and the 13th Amendment. All that being said, digitization is just a part of the solution that IDI offers our clients. In our ever-evolving world, keeping our clients up to date and equipped with the latest innovative technology is a huge priority to us. IDI offers a suite of technology solutions for optimizing, in your case, your library's archives once we have it all digital. Big one is, as I mentioned, optical character recognition, or OCR layering. This allows for a PDF scanned image to be fully text and keyword searchable. This innovative technology is an unmatched tool for improving research. No more need for the tedious searching through your microfilm collection using some of those old reader printers. I know we all know them pretty well, but the technology needs an upgrade, and that's what we're here for. When a newspaper, for example, is OCR'd, you can simply type in any word, keyword phrase, and it'll come up in seconds. We also offer digital image enhancement and editing with our expert imaging technicians. In these cases, if the original source material is in bad condition or just poor quality, we'll get the best capture possible. And then our technician will get to it and sometimes drastically improve the quality and make once illegible document legible and text searchable. We offer a comprehensive record management system, complete with live forms, automated workflows, paperless administration for improving productivity, and it assists in the working from home environment, which a lot of us are finding ourselves in these days. Our DigiFind It web portal is our best-selling technology solution. It was specifically designed to meet the needs of libraries and schools, so you guys are definitely in the right place. Shane Simon, who you just met, he will be giving a full demo of the product at the tail end of the presentation. But in a nutshell, DigiFind It is our attractive front-end product for digitally displaying, web hosting, and keyword searching through your scanned archive. Lastly here, our project tracking system, which we are able to design in-house. It offers real-time monitoring of scanning projects, not only for our team while we scan, but also for you, the client, to stay updated and informed throughout the duration of your project. Now I'm going to kick it back to Jordan. He's going to highlight a few of our notable conversions over the past 20 years.
Great. Thanks, Alec. So over our 20 years in business, here's just a short list, if you will, of some of the really prestigious organizations that have digitized over the years. You know, you're probably saying, well, they have big budgets and we don't. But we'll tackle that, here a little bit later. But not to say that anyone's collection is more important than anybody else's, right? A lot of these projects come to us in many shapes and sizes. So as you'll see on the list here, we've worked with a very notable Academy Awards library, some really juicy, gossipy letters, if you will, going back and forth at the Academy out in Hollywood. We were very blessed and happy, I should say, with the opportunity to digitize an original copy of the United States Constitution and Declaration of Independence that was housed at the Gilder Lerman collection, which is at the New York Historical Society. It was done through a publishing company that was given to IDI several years ago. We're a vendor for Sotheby's. We digitize a lot of their collections. We've been over at the Smithsonian Institute numerous times over in the Washington, D.C. area in Chantilly, Virginia. We actually had a project over to Innovative Document Imaging recently where they actually trusted us in our facility to house and digitize their collections. So the USA Sports Library, as well as Trinity College, AAS. AAS is the American Antiquarian Society. The National Library of Medicine. So there's many different places that IDI has been over the years. Please feel free to follow up with any questions or if there's anything else, but just some of the most notable things that we've done over the years. With that, I'm going to kick it back over to Alec, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about how we service local libraries and probably going to be a little more in tune with the type of projects that we'll be talking to you folks about here in the near future.
Yes, thanks, Jordan. Yeah, the notable project referrals are to give us credibility so that you trust us with your projects. That's the main hope that we hope you get from that. So yeah, during our 20 years in business, we've worked with hundreds, if not thousands of libraries by this time. And we've loved partnering with them on various projects of all shapes and sizes. We've digitized archives, including newspaper, a lot of city directories, oral histories, a ton of microfilm, photos, slides, negatives, all capturing that unique flair and history of the client's towns and cities. So each one is unique, and we approach it with a custom mindset. I want to take a... Was that?
I think you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to take a moment and highlight a few notable case studies, beginning with the Edison Public Library, which is actually my hometown. Fun fact for you. It's also the hometown of Thomas Edison, so there's that. We began working with the Edison Library a few years ago, and now we've built up quite a robust digital archive that gets hundreds of online visitors per month. Their archive consists of over 50 years of yearbooks from local histories, over 2,000 photos, slides, album pages, a lot of which actually pertain to Thomas Edison and his early inventing work. So it's a pretty fascinating archive they're building over there. We have over 50 years of board minutes, and that's all text searchable, historic and fragile books and ledgers, and over 10,000 pages of local newspaper, which is a great resource for researchers and anyone interested in the town's history. And we made that all text searchable as well. So it's all on their own DigiFind a web portal that Shane built for them. So you can search across the entire huge database in seconds and find exactly what you need. The next case study I'd like to highlight is the Plainfield Public Library. Also the library of our guest speaker, Sarah Hull, who we'll get to in a minute. Our work with Plainfield dates back nearly 10 years and continues to this day. Actually, I was just there last Thursday picking up a new order, over 50 police ledgers. We're scanning for them now. The total collection of that is around 280. So it's a large project that dates back nearly 100 years. And many of which those ledgers survived one fire, some water damage from them trying to put out the fire. So they require very delicate and professional touch to safely capture the best image. So we got our best teams on that. We also have done large collections of film reels, vinyl records, over 200 microfilm rolls of newspaper and city directories, 116 audio cassettes. And just like Edison, all these collections are hosted on their very own text searchable DigiFind It portal. Next up, we're going to play a short interview we were able to conduct with our guest speaker, Sarah Hull. She's the head of local history and genealogy and special collections at the Plainfield Public Library. In this interview, Sarah highlights her successful work at getting Plainfield's archive scanned through partnering with us, as well as she gets into her process for raising money, which is always a hot topic, how she applies for grants. She's had great success at that, and the benefits that she's seen, how digitizing the archives have brought to her community and Plainfield. Without further ado, we're going to queue up the interview.
If you could just take a moment and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your library background.
Sure. I got my Master in Science in Library and Information Science from Simmons College in Boston. And then I started out actually in dental and medical libraries. I worked in Boston at what was the Forsyth Dental Center. And then I came back to New Jersey and was archival assistant at the UMD&J Smith Library History and Medicine Room. That's actually part of Rutgers now. I worked in Media Center at Gibbs School, and then actually then went back to UMD&J at their foundation, where I did research and database management. I ended up here in Plainfield in 2008, and I started part-time as a part-time grant worker in the local history department, and then part-time also in the information technology department. And so I've been doing this for about 20 years.
What was one of the first projects you looked into getting done under your regime?
One of the first ones that we began with IDI was our city directories, which you did. And that was actual microfilming of the books themselves and then digitizing that. And then you also did our digitization of our early newspaper microfilm. And all of that was done with grants. We wrote Union County grants and also historical commission grants, special project grants to have that work done. We really needed to demonstrate the worth of these projects and why we chose them and why they were important. And we also needed to find a balance between the historical content that we wanted to provide, our own technical understanding, and our ability to sustain the technology. One of the things we needed to do was to maintain statistics on our access and our use of these things. So right away, that's something that we always done. My predecessor did that. We've always kept track of our use for our own reporting, but also for grant reporting. And then another thing we needed to do was not just rely on one organization for the funding. It's really important to ask multiple funders.
When you say usage, is that internal or like analytics, tracking your community engagement?
Once we do have these things available online, then we can use sort of, we use Google Analytics for our website. You all provide statistics for us on access, and funders want to know all of that.
So initially for these scanning projects, is it more you find for preservation, or is it the digital access?
It's like 100% for digital access. That is to say that by digitizing these things and then making that information available in that format, we use our actual items less.
What were some of the reasons you chose IDI to be your preferred imaging vendor for some of these larger projects?
Initially, I honestly can't speak to why they chose you initially. So I will talk to when I had something to do with it. And that is because we worked with you before, and you did a great job. Our previous projects, so right now we're working with you to have our collection of Plainfield police logs and tax ledgers digitized. So let me say that. We went with you because you had handled our city directories and our newspaper microfilm. You provided a content management system with a search capability. You stored this on your website that we could link to, so it allowed us to access that material without having to store it all on our servers. In turn, you are responsible for that, and you are backing those things up. You are taking care of that, which is excellent. Plus, you have excellent customer service. There are certain occasions, and really not a lot of occasions, but in the past where maybe there was a page missing from a city directory or something, your turnaround time to fix that is, it's practically overnight. And there are so many, there are other organizations where really, you have to submit a ticket and then you have to wait and you don't know what's going on. You offer a content management system with a search, and that's really important right now. A lot of organizations actually don't have that. We didn't back then. We had, when we had our initial project, when the blueprint started and the photographs and the postcards, there wasn't anything available. Now,
digging into the digital archive that you've built up now, have you seen this help your community engagement, and do you use it for promoting events or anything in that realm?
Oh, sure. So one thing, when we organize our project, we began with the least accessible visual materials, and I think a lot of people do that. So the glass plates and the film negatives, and I think by starting with visual materials like photographs and maps and postcards, it's easy to sort of capture your audience. You can use those images. Particularly now, we have platforms on social media, a lot of news. We use the Tap Into news site, and there's always an opportunity to add an image. So a photograph or a postcard or something like that, and having that digitized and at your fingertips makes it so easy to do. Last year, Plainfield celebrated its 150th anniversary, and the library was able to easily provide, over 100 images of photographs and postcards. They used it in their displays and in films. They used it on banners in the street. We always use it to promote our events. If we wanted to put, for example, a page in a city directory on display, we don't have to use the actual directory. And not only that, but we can then, blow that up. We can zoom in on that. We can use it in physical exhibits, and we can use it on our virtual exhibits.
In light of COVID-19, have you noticed an increase in need and desire for more digital resources to be made available?
Yes, absolutely. The local history department has not yet opened for in-person access to our collections. So we try to make everything as much as we can available on our website for our researchers' use.
Historically, you've had a lot of success in finding funding for these big projects. So I wonder if you could share a technique or some kind of strategy that you use to obtain these grants.
Yeah. So I don't have anything special that I do. You want to look for your local funders. So any local foundations. You want to look to your county funders. So the Union County Office of Cultural and Heritage Affairs. Other counties have similar organizations. There's state funders like the New Jersey Historical Commission, who help larger organizations. Now, smaller organizations really have to focus at the county level. When you hear a project being funded, see who funded it, and then see if that can apply to you. There's also crowdfunding and community fundraising. On our webpage, we have a place where people can see, what their donation will bring to them. So $20 will bring, the purchase of a box, or we'll get this many photos digitized, or something like that. Everybody knows about the foundation directory, so they have an online service. If you're really looking for funding and you want to get into a lot of funders, definitely go that way. Particularly now, I think we can all make a very good argument that digitization will allow us to continue operating. So keep that in mind. Not all funders only give in the state and where they're located, so don't write off a funder or a foundation because they're not in New Jersey or they're not in your county. I definitely recommend asking your IT department with help. I've asked ours for help in terms of how do we store this information? Is it safe? How do we do our backups? When do we do our backups? And I've asked them to explain it to me in terms that aren't technical so that I can explain that in a grant.
How have you liked working with our platform, Digifind It, for searching through your archives?
We like it. We like it. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't have come back. I think it's a nice search. The items that we have with you are really, most of them are text based, so it allows for that full text searching, which we like. We're real happy with it.
Is there any just general advice or insight you can provide for your library peers that are now beginning to investigate digitization for their library and web hosting their archives?
I think you should know your collection and your audience. And so I don't want to go back to grant writing, but definitely involve the people who work with the materials in your grant writing. I think the best thing I can say is if you see a website or a system you like, find out about that. And that's a good starting point.
All right. I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope the audio and video came through pretty clearly. Anyone that might have joined us late, we are accepting questions. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end, but thank you very much again to Sarah, who wasn't able to make our meeting today, but we met with her recently, and she sends her best to everybody that may know her and those that don't. So one more case study that we wanted to talk about was a project that we recently completed for the Fordham University Library in New York. And what their intent was a CDL, or controlled digital lending. Those of you that aren't aware of controlled digital lending, it's becoming more and more popular amongst libraries, universities, researchers. And as IDI is aware of the new normal, COVID-19 challenges that researchers and libraries are facing in order to access content, CDL, or controlled digital lending, is a solution that a number of organizations are instituting in order to circumvent this challenge. IDI has the trained personnel, the state-of-the-art equipment, CDL software, and procedures to quickly and accurately make digital research easily available using these digitized books and textbooks for the Controlled Digital Lending Program. Controlled digital lending is a method allowing libraries to loan print books in a digital format that is similar to the conventional lend-to-print model. With CDL, libraries' technical controls ensure a consistent owned-to-loaned ratio, meaning the library circulates the exact number of copies of the specific titles it owns. Regardless of the format, putting the required controls in place will prevent users from redistributing or copying the digitized version. When CDL is appropriately tailored to reflect print book market conditions and controls are properly implemented, CDL is permissible under the existing copyright laws. Obviously critical. CDL is not intended to act as a substitute for existing electronic licensing services offered by publishers. The one significant advantage, however, of CDL, it addresses the 20th century problem, of older books still under copyright and desired by researchers. These not being available in a digital format. So, in a nutshell, with IDI's excellent reputation, or others, of course, for quality scanning of large book projects, we are well positioned and eager to partner with libraries across the globe and assist with their CDL requirements. One of the core activities of the library is to loan materials, and its proponents, known as the CDL, is a modern digital extension of this function. With the CDL, a library takes a physical copy of a legally acquired item, digitizes it. After digitization, digital rights management, or DRM, is applied to the digital version, and now the physical item is available for loan. A library catalog record is usually the mechanism that provides access to a digital loan, and the record is a change to the point to the repository where the digital copy resides. Now, there's only one copy being loaned for each copy by the library. After the loan period expires, the software removes the previous borrower's digital access, and the book is now once again available to loan as a digital or a physical copy. I'm sure you might have some questions. Those of you that might be new to the CDL process, of course, would be happy to field these in the chat or at a later time. Always feel free to reach out to us. Digitization and the pandemic. So this is obviously a critical thing with what's going on now, with a lot of us working from home, all these different types of things in an ever-changing environment that we all see ourselves in. So remote access to research and operational materials. So this includes really anything from your HR files to archival research, financial records, photo collections, audio, video, ancestral genealogy data, local birth and death records, you name it. What it could do is assist in working from home. It allows for contactless sharing of information among staff in the community. It grants a wide array of digital marketing content to promote events, social media content, virtual fundraising, crowdsourcing, increased community engagement, etc. It also gives you peace of mind in these uncertain times through secure digital preservation. Very, very important. So I'm sure you're asking and wondering, how do I get started? As Sarah mentioned in her video, the Plainfield Public Library right here in New Jersey has been fortunate enough to have an ongoing digitization endeavor for over a decade. I'm sure some of your libraries have the same, but others are just looking to get started. So how can IDI help? Give us a call. We'll come right to you. Myself, Alex, Shane, or any of our other account manager or business development folks will happily meet you on premises, off premises. You can come to our facility. We'll come to yours. Whatever works. We could work virtually via Zoom. We'll meet you for an initial consultation. We'll identify the scope of what you're looking to digitize, a scanning project, even discussing the best possible web-based solution once the material has been digitized. Again, as Sarah made mention in her video, important for you to consult with your IT department as well to see how, where, and all these types of things you're going to go about storing the digital backups. We're very experienced in estimating the image counts, media types, and library collections. So I know it might seem a little scary to say, hey, I got a basement full of archives. What's this going to cost me? Or what can I digitize legally? Or an attic or a closet, all these different types of things. So don't worry. Trust the professionals. We'll help you figure out what it might cost, if you might be able to be granted fundraising, all these different types of things. Or we will carefully review the scope of a scanning project, all these different types of things. Next, we'll provide you with a formal proposal that outlines our processes and project costs, provide you with a comprehensive write-up that contains all the necessary information for grant submissions and or presenting to the library's board. We also work closely with friends of libraries as well as the board, so it really depends, obviously, on your organization. We also offer free sample digital imaging as well as a free web portal for you and your team to test drive, if you will, the product and feel confident before making a commitment. Our dedicated account managers will be by your side from the duration of the project and remain in contact for ongoing support to maintain satisfaction and add content for future projects. Very, very important, as I mentioned in the beginning of our discussion here, is the transportation and care process. So definitely do not take this for granted. We have our own driver, our own company vehicles for these types of things. We make sure everything gets signed off on at pickup and delivery. We have our operation and project managers verify the boxes. Everything either gets barcoded or ingested into our job tracking system. I'll talk about more in a moment. Everything's going to be locked, and our temperature and humidity controlled IDI library internal to our facility that you saw in the video earlier. And then scanning is going to take place. Employees scan materials, mark complete. Typically, there'll be either what we call a project manifest or spreadsheet that everything has its place. Anything like anomalies, page counts, et cetera, will be used on this and the tracking system. Unfinished boxes will always be stored back in the library with 24/7 closed caption television, so everything is always monitored so you have that full sense of security at all times. Next, when a project is complete, we'll reschedule a delivery to return the content just as it was in the form as we picked it up. very, very key to the business of these digitization and prioritizing scanning projects is the job tracking system that we've actually developed in-house. We noticed there was a need on the market. There wasn't something so outside the box that we could work with. We had our own software engineer and writers internal to our company write a specific job tracking system that works, and it really helps us schedule our pickups, and it really, from soup to nuts, cradle to grave, takes us from pickup to delivery with the proper DPIs, with the OCR, with the specifications, with the JHOVE or any other type of spec that a customer is trying to meet. All of this gets accomplished using the job tracking system. Here you'll see some more screenshots of how it works. Of course, we'd be happy to dive into this further in some Q&A or at a further time. But again, in a nutshell, it's project tracking reports. It graphs project progress against completion and goals. It's got daily real-time stats for each scan station, each employee. It reports for each project, your imaging counts, your boxes, time frame, each scanner, and project. So this is great for not only our operations, our production, our sales team, as well as the customer yourself. You could track in real time the status of any project in-house with us. And in just a moment here, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Shane. Shane's going to be demonstrating Did You Find It? What Did You Find It is. He's going to get into a real-life demo, but I'm just going to summarize it. So once he gets started, you'll see what you're looking at. What it is it's digital hosting of archives, basically including anything you could think of: photos, slides, audio, video, yearbooks, newspaper, microfilm, city directories, board minutes, and much, much more. It's got globally text searchable by keyword with your Boolean search operators. It's also built to be extremely intuitive, user-friendly. It's an excellent tool for preservation, research, and community engagement. With that, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Shane. Just bear with us 1 second as Shane's going to share his screen and give you a live demo of our product.
All right. It is 10 to 12, so I'll say good afternoon. My name is Shane Simon. I'm Director, Web Services of Innovative Document Imaging, lead developer of Did You Find It? So you've heard about Did You Find It throughout this meeting. You've heard about all the different ways that we offer scanning and solutions for your library. I'm going to be showing you a few library websites as well as a few private school websites. Did You Find It is a full solution. Simply put, it's a content management system. So I've been with the company for over 10 years now, and about 10, 11 years ago, we were given I don't want to say a problem, but, we've digitized your data, but how do you get it out there? And this is a great way to do that. Did You Find It is fully customizable. Generally, we like to design the layout similar to the library website. They feel that, patrons using your library site and our Did You Find It, it'll be almost seamless for them. So you've heard about newspapers, yearbooks, audio, video, all the things that we do. No matter what the data is, we are able to put this on a website. PDFs, simply put, you heard about the optical character recognition, and that's how we do the keyword searching. So this can go across all PDFs, newspapers, real estate, city directories, video, audio, and we're able to tag this with metadata for searching as well. So first up is a library we've done here in New Jersey, the Maplewood Public Library. I like to show this site. It is semi-new that we've done, and we've done over, you can see here, well over 100 years of newspapers. Okay, so this is the news record. Some of it was done on microfilm, some was it physical copy, and some is also digital. All right, straight to digital. So if you have digital files already, we are able to put those on the site as well. Everything's listed in a calendar format. Okay. Just some things you haven't heard about is real estate. All right. So someone actually went around town taking photos for the past, I think 50 years, if I remember correctly, of all the streets within Maplewood and all the data on the houses. There's also data on the pricing for what it sold. So if anybody moving to the area wanted to do some research, that would be one way to do it. They also have done their yearbooks. Okay, so again, about 100 years of yearbooks here. The Columbia High School, city directories, and their library history of photos. Okay, so another way of getting your data out there is if you have a large slide, negative, even physical photo collection. This is one way to get it on your website for your patrons. They provided us, as you can see, with the metadata. Okay. You can open these up into a larger view, and you could search across these as well. Okay. So if I were to search Baker, which is Baker Street within Maplewood, then it would now minimize it down to just the search results. So Baker Street. Okay. Another website that we've done, you heard from Alec, is Edison. Everything on here is about Thomas Edison. But we've done their newspapers, newsletters, meeting minutes, miscellaneous files, album scrapbooks, and as well as a photo gallery. Okay. So simple. Okay, but to the point. And if I were to search bulb, I would find everything of the original bulb, or the Thomas Edison holding a bulb. So I want to move over now to just a private school, just to show you that this is a full solution. Doesn't matter really what the data is. We're able to apply this to everything. It's very customizable. The Hun School of Princeton is a private school here, excuse me, in New Jersey. And we've been working with them for well over 10 years. Everything you see here is pretty much its own category. Okay. So I've worked closely with their archivist. We're going to do our best to, find a format that works for you. If you're more hands-off, we could do a lot, but if you want to be hands-on, we're okay with that. They have a huge collection of just pretty much 100 years. She was very diligent, archiving everything. Okay. Now you could search the PDF files. You could also search pictures and movies. So they digitized 600 videos of their athletics. Okay. So if I were just to search football here, I would then get all their video pages with highlighted in football. So you could click on these, and these are the videos that we digitized. This was their undefeated football team. Okay. Okay. Another thing you actually haven't heard about, I don't think today, was Transcribe. So if you've got oral histories, if you've got videos, we are able to services to actually transcribe the video and the audio. Okay. You can listen to the audio.
Yes.
Oops.
We had, I think we had total.
We're talking a little low there, but you can follow along with the transcription. Okay. And you could search through that. And then if you find, the time and date, if it's included, you can then skip to that.
Services. So
they had, as you can see, a lot of people who lived in the town of Woodbridge come in over the years, talk about the town. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. I mean, I'll answer it as we go. Otherwise, we will be having a Q&A after this. Okay, and then the last site that I wanted to show you here was Buckley Country Day School. So this is a little bit of a newer site that we've done. It really puts the management in CMS. Okay, so this is a little bit more advanced. And just to let you know, these sites are all scalable. Okay, so you can start small and you can scale these as you grow. Okay, we've worked with private schools and libraries well over a decade, starting just with some newspapers and then into yearbooks. And as you grow your online collection, we will scale up the website. What we also offer now is the ability to kind of make changes and edits yourself. So if you like, again, if you're more hands-on, after we scanned your collection, if you wanted to go in and kind of move around your data, that's something that we allow. So this is our admin mode. This is the back end of the website. Okay. If I were to go to the main site, this would be the front. This is what the public would see. So they have all these different plaques from over the years that each graduating class has. They've got their own photo galleries. Okay. So you saw on the Edison and Maplewood site, they only had one gallery. Buckley here has a lot. They have probably over 2,000. Okay. And what they wanted to do is they wanted the ability to check all these photos before putting it on the public side. So if I go back to the admin page, okay, and we offer logins with different access levels. So if you need that on your website, parts of the website, we can restrict. We could also restrict parts of the website or the entire website to the building, just to the library. We're very well versed in the laws of copyright. So, we'll help you with that. If there are some publications that need to be restricted, we could restrict just that publication or even down to the year to just the library. So patrons will have to come into the library to view that data. But back to the admin mode. So what we've set up for them is the ability to review all of the photos that we have scanned for them. They have over probably 200,000 images that we scanned for them. And then they provided us with their own digital hard drive. Okay. So we were able to dump these photo albums into the back end, and they can then go and review them. Okay. And they actually have different access levels. So they have helpers who cannot push it to the public side. They can only review it, and then they can push it to approved. And once it goes to approved, there's then an admin or master admin who then can push it to the public side. I am a master admin, so I can do that, but they would not even be able to view that. Okay. This is just a test gallery here just to show you, but these would be all the photos that are undecided at the moment. I can click on this test, and again, you would see the similar photo gallery. Okay. And then you could click on the ellipses here, the little drop down, and this will actually show you an audit trail. So it's going to tell you what's been changed and by who and the date and time. Okay. If I were to go back, okay, and I'm going to go back here to more info edit, and this is going to give me more metadata on the actual entire album. Okay. So from here, I can edit the captions. It'll tell you the current location, keywords. So you can tag, think of it like a hashtag for future searching, tell you the total amount of images. And then this is where you can rename. So you can rename the album. You can, which we call push. So you could move it to the approved or the public side. And then you'll get an audit trail, just not on the captions, but the entire change list for that album. So if I were to change this from test 11 to test 12, you can now see this is now named test 12. Okay. And if I were to go to edit captions, I will just add a 1, a 2, and a 3. Okay, so now it's 11, 22, 33, submit, and that is now changed. Okay, so this gives you the ability to really dig deep. You can sort the collections yourself. We also offer that a service if you need be. We're just trying to give you the full solution. All right. That's pretty much it for the demo. Just to reiterate, these are very customizable for your needs. We're going to work together. All right. Now, if you guys have any questions, we are opening the floor, so you can put them in the chat box, or you can speak up now.
Shane, real quick.
Yeah.
Could you go back to Edison or Maplewood and just run a few basic searches?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So that would be the PDF search. Okay. So I'll search for hurricane here. We had a few of those in the past 5 years, but you can search across the whole database. You could also sort by category here, so you could narrow it down. So I did a hurricane in all categories. You'll get the file name. You'll get the category. So this was the news record. That's the newspaper, the decade, and then the year. Okay, so I'll click on that. And that will then load up the PDF. Just takes a few seconds. So it loads up most of it and then continues to load. And then it takes you to hurricane. Okay. So did you find it? It's simple. All right. But we pride ourselves on that. It's affordable solution. But there's a lot of extensive features that we can add. Again, we could scale over.
You want to show us the Snapshot Tool, Shane, which is really cool for libraries, maybe that are doing local history or something.
Yeah. So the Snapshot is not on Maplewood. It is per website. Hold on. Let me just bring up another one here.
Just explain to us what that is exactly.
Yeah. So the Snapshot Tool, sorry. Snapshot is basically able just to capture what you're looking at once you're inside the PDF. So best viewer nowadays is Firefox. It's a great tool to have. We're building it now into some of the newer websites. So some of the older ones that don't have it, you simply could just right click here and you take a snapshot. Okay. And then you just drag. So if I wanted to maybe get this article, maybe a little bit of this picture here, and then you just click copy or you click download. So if you download, it'll download an image, copy. It's now been copied to your clipboard. So you could, simply Control V or right click and paste that into a Word document, an email for printing. And because we scan at a very high DPI, you can actually blow that up and that will look pretty good.
It's just great. The reference departments rave about this, as we're in about over 100 libraries with our DigiFind It product, and the fact that they could just quickly go in, grab a page, whether it's a wedding announcement or an obituary. It used to take them literally weeks to grab it from Microsoft,
right.
But you have it digitized, you grab it, it's done in a matter of seconds.
Right. So the beginning of my anecdote there, Jordan, and to everyone was, people would say, well, we've got all this data now. We used to have to, get a call for an obituary and they'd have to go and do a little digging, research, find the microfilm, put it on the reader, right? But now you can do this in a matter of seconds.
Great. So we got a few comments in the chat box. Alec, were there any questions that we wanted to field?
No questions yet. So let's open it up. If you have anything about your specific collection or copyright, any questions at all, just leave them there. We'll give it about 5-10 minutes.
We'll leave it open. And as anybody has any questions, as we mentioned, we do offer free consultations. So do feel free to reach out to Alec, myself. There's nothing you could think of at the moment. Feel free to reach out. Alec will be reaching out shortly after the demo for those of you that want our PowerPoint slides or want the recording of this video, or again want to get started with a free consultation on how we could help service your library needs.
Yes, as a reminder, you all get a $50 digitization gift card that you can redeem with us. Just for attending today, and also you're all entered into a raffle to get a new Amazon tablet. So keep an eye out for that in your inbox.
Very cool. All right, looks like we answered all the questions. So thank you so much.
Wait. We have a question.
We have a question popping up. Okay, go for it.
I think this is our friend Scott. From Missouri. Can you OCR foreign language publications and specifically Frank Tour typefaces used in German publications prior to World War II?
That's a great question. Yes, the answer is yes. We can OCR in about 40 different languages, including German. Of course, with OCR, I'm sure most of us know it has its limitations, but assuming it's pretty clean text, you should expect a pretty good result. If there's handwriting or, chicken scratch, I wouldn't expect great results, but absolutely we can OCR in German. I'd be happy to share any other languages, but yeah, I believe it's about 40 or so we could do now to tie the OCR into making it text searchable. Good question.
I know that the Proctor OCR requires a special OCR program for that. I mean, it won't work just because the letter forms are different from.
Sure. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, great question.
Yep. Some of them are limited to certain languages, or what it has now. I mean, we could do a whole webinar on OCR, but as it's getting better and better with the technology, there's this ICR or the intelligent OCR that works for handwritten documents, and it actually will gauge it based on the time frame it was written and all these different types of things. So we are, I guess you could say, working with and dabbling with a few of those different types where obviously, as we know, having good OCR really, makes these collections come alive. So we are continuing to, develop the best that we can to make these things, worthwhile. Terrific question.
Can I ask another question?
Please do. Sure.
Maybe I missed it. I got distracted here for a moment, but in your digital interface, when you're looking at it, I think you said you could actually clip. There was like a clipping tool that you can use.
Yes.
Are
Absolutely.
there also image enhancement tools with that, or?
So when you're on that's a very good question. When you're on the portal itself, the answer is no, but behind the scenes, we certainly can. There are image enhancements, but yes, I am familiar with what you're speaking of, where you could actually sort of enhance it, make it more gray or more black. We don't have that feature built into Digifind It. It is something we are looking into integrating down the road, but it's something that we do, in the background, if you will, post-processing. As Alec mentioned, earlier in our presentation, sometimes we digitize poor microfilm images or newspaper images. So what we'll do is right before it even goes to Digifind It or wherever it's going to ultimately reside, we'll do that post-process cleanup right then and there before we, publish it, if you will. But it does not have the feature built into Digifind It, but it is something that we use beforehand.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Good questions. Anything else popping up, Alec?
No.
I have another question.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
So we're here in St. Louis, and you're all the way up in New Jersey. So why should I consider you?
That's a terrific question. Alec, do you want to field that?
Sure. I mean, no matter where we physically are, we're set up all over the country doing projects on site. We're in California. We're at the University of Iowa.
We're in the University of Iowa right now, actually, digitizing for them a collection at the Iowa University Library.
Also UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Alec.
You could jump in. I got something in my throat.
Yeah, so we could really work it any which way. If you were worried about the locality of it all, we would be happy to set up on site near you. Of course, a higher cost does come along with that. As you could imagine, that's something that the University of Iowa preferred. They didn't want to see their stuff shipped out to the Northeast, but what we do, we have our own van driver that would come out. We use Pelican cases, military grade, waterproof, crush proof, fireproof. We would still come out most likely as our first point of contact would be either Alec or myself or one of our sales representatives to really, get the thing off the ground. We would then come back or during the same trip, help you pack up, in these Pelican cases. So when it does come back to New Jersey, obviously you do have the transport. We advise or try not to, use third-party handlers, UPS, FedEx, et cetera. Too many horror stories come along with that. Of course, sometimes it's, in the means of doing business, we do use them, but if all not possible, we try not to. Then, of course, when it does get back to our facility, you're going to be in great hands, temperature controlled, humidity controlled, closed caption TV, 24/7. Everything's under lock and key. So all those great things. And of course, as you see, we have the experience like no other. We've been in the most prestigious places in the world, as we've talked about. We're the preferred vendor for places like the New York Public Library, the Smithsonian Institute, et cetera, et cetera. So we'd be happy to, go on and on, but hopefully that covers at least a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Anything else come to mind for anybody? All right, Alec, do you want to say one last piece about reaching out to everybody with their gift cards, et cetera?
Sure. Yeah, thank you all for being on. I hope it was informative and you learned something that you can take back. I'm going to be following up. I've spoken to some of you before, so I'll be re-following up with you with a gift card, $50 that you can redeem with us. And that can be used on your personal stuff too. Some people get a few their wedding video digitized or something cool like that with the $50. So it doesn't have to be used for your library. And yeah, lastly, just have a great rest of the day. I'll be following up and we'll be sending out the link to this recording so you can review it along with the slides if possible.
Great. Thank you again so much for being here. Look forward to talking and meeting with you all one day soon. All right. Take care. Be well. Stay safe. Have a great summer, everybody.
Yes. Take care.
Take care.